In September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 2273, also known as the California Age Appropriate Design Code Act, that will take place in September. In September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 2273, also known as the California Age Appropriate Design Act, that will take effect July 1st, 2024. This new bill is aimed at protecting teens and minors, pretty much everyone under the age of 18, online in venues like social media and games. So we're talking places like Meta, TikTok, Amazon, Valve, which is also known as Steam, Google, which is Android, YouTube, while you're watching this, and Gmail, Apple, which is iPhones, Mac OS, iPad OS, which is Macintoshes, MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, iMacs, and iPads. Also includes Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. Online services, like mentioned, are most likely to be used by children and so must comply with the following: turning on all of the default privacy settings, including higher level ones if one is provided, unless the service can provide a compelling reason that a different setting is in the best interest of the children, which is one of my first issues with this law. Now, first off, I understand there are some apps that need services like location data. If you use a weather app on your phone, like I do, I use AccuWeather. It needs location data, so it'll tell you weather like, hey, it's most likely raining and it feels like 58 degrees. Ooh, 58. I like that. Valve is a little bit more complicated because of Steam, which Steam is a digital store for games and software. So it really doesn't need, it kind of needs location data, but also needs personal information as well. Personal information like the person's age. Let me see if I can find an example. Let me see here. Let's look up. Shit. Let's go in here and do. By that, this is Steam. So let's see here. What looks good? Ah, cool. I remember Fable. So if I click into here, okay, it does not ask for digital age, but if I go into a game like what's on my wish list, I know I got something in here that's not details, not space control, like Witcher. This should ask me for my age. It does what? Okay. Witcher 3, let me see here, and it should be asking for my age. Wait, fucking seriously? What? Well, okay, like you see right here, ask for my age to look at the store for Grand Theft Auto 5. So let me put in my age. Let me see here. Because it's made for mature audience. So if I put in an age like I was born in 2010, which would make me 12, you're not permitted to enter. I'm not permitted, but if I put in an age, put in age, my actual birth year, which is 1995. I'm 27. Okay. Steam remembers, as you just saw. So I can't really go back and change my age unless I put my cookies, but what can I say? prerequisite. I already own Grand Theft Auto 5. So Steam uses personal information kind of like that. And that's one of the few pieces of personal information that Steam will ask. But it also asks for things like... I was going to hold my wallet, but it'll ask for debit card information because it is an online store. But sites like Facebook out of Meta ask more than just the age. It also ask for your interests, or also ask for things like your gender. And by default, now, because personal information, location data, and profiling like that will now be defaulted for those under the age of 18 to off. It will not collect that information unless it's in best interest for the child. So, like AccuWeather, location data will be in best interest because the entire purpose of the app will be to provide your local weather. But for something like my home screen, which is my phone's launcher, because I changed default view through a third-party app, it by default, because Google Play, which is owned by Google, obviously, will not need my location data for this. It wouldn't, by default, it will not need my personal information for this by default. Links will not need that. But what about Reddit? Actually, Reddit, in my opinion, is actually a really good example of a social media that actually doesn't need information on the start. Because I could follow r/gaming. I'm a gamer. r/gaming doesn't need to know I'm 18. r/where insults, one of my absolute favorite subreddits, doesn't need to know I'm 18. But let's see here. But r/cosplay will ask, and did ask me, if I'm okay with an SFW content, because a lot of cosplay can be sexually revealing. So in that case, Reddit will know. But because I'm under 18, Reddit will not no, if I'm under 18, I should say, Reddit will not let me, and this is where that will come into service, because at that point, that will be in the best interest of the minor. So it can block me, saying, hey, you're not 18, you can't see this content. That right there will come in the best interest. But I can see Meta, I can see Google, I can see Apple, Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, and Microsoft saying, no. We need to profile this person. It's in the best interest of the child, and it'll come up for reasons like this. Which, in my opinion, is not enough. Another thing that also this bill also, I want to get back to that. I will get back to that because I got another part of this that we're coming up that's really going to get into. Another part would be they must also provide all policies, terms of service, privacy information, and community standards in a clear language standard to that suitable for the age of the minor. So if you're over 18, they're going to give you the full-on legalese. But if you're 13 or 8 or 15, those are drastically different reading standards. So in my opinion, I kind of see it like when you sign up for the website, it's going to ask you for the age. Let's say I was born on January 5th, 2010, which makes me 12. That's going to be in a bracket that the company's going to have to make up, saying this is your reading age. Here you go. If you're 15, that's a different reading bracket. So it's going to say, here you go. Which actually is a fantastic thing, because I do remember signing up for YouTube at a young age. I remember signing up for Gmail. I still have my original email address when I signed up when I was 12. And yes, that makes that more than a 10-year-old email address, which is awesome. I love it. I'm a nerd, can you tell? And I remember just reading a little bit, because I was 12, I didn't understand a damn thing. I scrolled all the way to the bottom and said, I agree. I remember signing up for YouTube. I remember signing up for Facebook. I remember signing up for Twitter and Reddit at a younger age. So now having all that information in a readable manner suitable for the age of the minor is a good thing. Now here is now getting back to the services. Fines and penalties for each child will not exceed. One second. Fines for civil penalties for each affected child will not exceed $2,500, and negligent violation will not exceed $7,500 per child. This was authorized by the Attorney General and will be placed under the Consumer Privacy Fund. These fines are way too low for these multi-billion-dollar companies. That is exactly what I written verbatim. Here's why this is going back into that. Because these companies, Meta, TikTok, Valve, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu are multi-billion-dollar companies. Apple is a trillion-dollar company. So $7,500, they can easily throw at it and not do anything. What I believe, because these are affecting minors, they should be on a on a tax bracket, saying for each child, how about a percentage for that child? Because these are affecting minors. That's $2,500. That's not a lot of money when you're talking about a child. Now, one of the things I do when I research a story, especially on my own, I will jump over to the opposing side. And because I am a liberal, usually means looking at websites like Fox, Breitbart, and a lot of these other right-wing conservative media. And one of the things that brought up, and it actually did bring it up as well, that you may have to provide a state-issued ID. That is something I do take issue with, because this bill in general is protecting the privacy of a child. And privacy is something I actually do respect, despite this being recorded and edited on MacBook Pro. Actually recorded, edited in Windows that is installed on MacBook Pro. My primary laptop that I use day to day runs Linux. When my search engine of choice is DuckDuckGo. I do have a Gmail account, like I said, it's more than 10 years old. I'm slowly transitioning to another email provider. I was transitioning to a Proton Mail. A lot of things came up for them. I'm now looking for another privacy-minded email service. My phone is very much blocked down, despite it being a Pixel 6, which is an Android phone produced by Google. I do have this phone fairly locked down. And that's one of the reasons why I switched from iPhones. And I do believe by law, all of these privacy settings should be default despite the age. But for a minor, I understand location data. That I actually do understand. Um, but personal information, a profilization of minors should be illegal on the federal level. And don't get me wrong, these companies are suing California for this law, for this new law. And it will take place, it will take effect July 1st, 2024, if the lawsuit is deemed constitutional, because these companies are going after them on their First Amendment rights. Where the fuck is the freedom of speech profiling people? Not just children, profiling people. How is that within your First Amendment right to profile people? To track their locations, to track them via cookies through the browser, on their phones. Where is that in your First Amendment right? Please let me pull up the First Amendment real quick. First, not second. First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free expression thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press. The right of the people is peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for regardless of grievances. Look, I'm not a scholar. I'm an IT student. But even my stupid monkey brain with no law experience can readily see within this First Amendment that gives a corporation the right to profile me, to track me, to provide me ads due to that profiling. I do not see that within this First Amendment. But to get angry they can do this to a child, to someone under the age of 18. I'm sorry. Valve, I love you. You've brought me thousands of hours of entertainment. You brought me thousands of hours of me escaping the world of reality into a virtual world that I love. You've brought me countless hours of Age of Empires, within Fallout 4, within Fallout New Vegas, within Kerbal Space Program, within Battlefield, within City Skylines, within Dirt Rally. You've taken me to space, and you've taken me on some of the best fucking rally tracks this world has to offer. I've driven loads from London to Nuremberg in Euro Truck Simulator. I took down gangs in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas through you. I love you. You are one of my favorite companies because of Steam alone. But that does not... But profiling me to sell me an ad is not within your First Amendment right as a corporation. Google, despite using this website and despite using your phone and Android, to profile me, to send cookies within my browser to track me across other sites, that is not within your First Amendment right. Meta? Just straight up, fuck you. I hate you. Apple, I love the iPhone for a long time. But you don't have the First Amendment right to track me, despite what your advertisements say. You do track people through your iPhones. When I talk to my best friend in Wyoming on my iPad, you were tracking me. That is not your First Amendment right to do so. That's not within your religion. That is not within your freedom of speech. Privacy is a foundation that every human has a right to build upon. If you want to go full Linux from scratch, you refuse to use Google or any web free browser of choice, you have the right to build it. You have the right to build your own privacy-based search engine so that you know that when you go to surf online, like we all do, that you're private, that's on you. That is your right to do so. But that does not give you the right to put trackers on that if someone else wants to do so. Privacy, despite me being here on YouTube, is something I don't take lightly. I prefer my privacy. I love my privacy. But I am all for this law. Besides one thing. If I have to provide a state-issued ID, I will not use your service. And I encourage everyone to do so. In theory, as it's written, I like this law. But like any other law, you just have to wait to see how it ends up. Love you all. I'll catch you guys right back here in the ferry.